Hello, everyone, and welcome to the today's episode of The Black Cat Show. And today, I feel like we gotta talk about video games, or more specifically, PlayStation. As we all know, this is the center stage for the primary channel on the internet for talking shit about PlayStation. Their games aren't good. Their fans don't have tastes. None of their developers are good. None of their exclusive titles are worth playing. And I think this recent move is kind of going to make that more apparent to everyone. It's going to be a sort of Horizon Zero Dawn situation in which a mediocre PlayStation exclusive, right? Something like Horizon Zero Dawn, when that gets ported to another console that's not on PlayStation, and you lose that PlayStation bonus, when you lose that narrative that this is one of the best games ever made, people aren't impressed, to say the least. People are talking about financials and how many people bought and paid for Horizon Zero Dawn, but you have to understand, people don't actually like Horizon Zero Dawn HD. I mean, Horizon Zero Dawn PC. It was a terrible game to begin with, and I'm told the game has tons of issues with glitches and general problems with being a PC port. A lot of these some PC master race, they can't even run basic ass PS4 games, and I don't know, man. It's getting really, really ridiculous because you have the PlayStation fans defending this. You have them trying to say that oh, well, we'll get the sequel exclusive on PlayStation. The sequel is going to come to PC too. You have the PC fanboys celebrating this and thinking that this is going to be the end of consoles, when really what's actually going to happen is that Nintendo is going to control the monopoly when it comes to console manufacturers. So you're gonna have PC, you're gonna have Nintendo, and you're gonna have mobile. And what I think is what's gonna happen. The PC gaming industry is going to collapse. Valve is having lots of issues. They can't put out good software. Their stores aren't good. They're having to compete with Epic. Epic is preventing games from releasing on Steam. People need to stop talking shit about oh, games need a PC release. What you really mean is that oh, games need a Steam release. With Epic doing the things they're doing, doing the things they were doing, that might actually have changed. Eventually, we're going to see more and more competition in the PC gaming space. It's very possible that Nintendo, if they were ever to put games on PC, I'm not saying they will. I don't think they will. If they were ever to put their games on PC, they would just make their own store and make you download it from their own store. It's not. They wouldn't bother with fucking Valve. Why would they? That doesn't fucking make any sense. And besides, PC gamers only want PC ports to make it easier to pirate games. That's the only reason why. There's not actually a demand for Nintendo versions of games on their hardware. I'm kind of going all over the place here. I really need to start sticking with it, finding a topic and sticking to it. PlayStation is on the way out. That's really all this is. And I did have a bunch of people contact me and point this out to me. This is not a good thing for PlayStation. They really cannot keep this going. They really cannot spend millions of dollars on products like The Last of Us Part 2 that bombed, to be honest with you. The Last of Us Part 2 isn't the only Sony exclusive that has bombed this generation. I would say most of them have. Uncharted 4 didn't do all that well. The Order 1876, is it 86 or 76? I think it is 76. The Order bombed, of course, right? That studio shuttered. God of War is going to die again. Once it's going to go through the Naughty Dog routine, right? Where the game journalists hype it up, right? It goes through the process, and then by the third game, people kind of lose interest because the game just isn't all that well made or interesting. It has already been forgotten, and Knack is a meme. Making fun of Knack is a meme at this point. Killzone is dead. There's just there have been more failures in the PS4 generation, far more failures than there ever have been successes. And I think this PC port thing, it's not trying to like reach a new audience. It's not trying to like it's not a move made out of like strategic brilliance. It's something that Sony is doing out of pure desperation. They have no idea how they're going to compete with Game Pass, with Valve, with Nintendo, with mobile. Like, basically, we're at the point now where I think it's safe to say, like, PlayStation has no audience. Like, they don't have any fans of their actual games. The DVDs aren't a problem anymore. Nobody's requesting DVD players to be part of their consoles anymore because they can just stream movies through Amazon Prime, right? Like, basically, music isn't a thing anymore. We have Spotify for that. Essentially, on one hand, you have Nintendo, who's making the better games, and then you have, like, Apple and PC, who have, like, the apps and, like, these other subscription services that just do what PlayStation does, but better. Like, nobody's buying, like, a PS4 and saying that, like, holy shit, you can download Amazon Prime on this thing. Like, nobody is doing that. Like, I mean, sure, PlayStation 4 fans will watch a lot of Pornhub, right? That's one of their most popular apps, but that's because they're PlayStation fans. They don't have sex. Like, what are you stupid or something? No, of course they don't have sex. So of course their most popular application is going to be fucking Pornhub. Like, I am just appalled, right? Appalled at, like, the weirdness of this situation. Like, people don't want to admit how bad of a situation the PS5 actually is in. Like, the PS4 had a terrible console generation. Its big new game is basically just a port of a PS3 game, Grand Theft Auto 5. We're in the middle of a pandemic. They're pulling stunts like taking pre-orders of a pre-order. Like, I've commented on this before, but with Nintendo, and I think we'll probably get on this later, with Nintendo, you have the audience being overtly scrutinizing, like, literally everything they do, right? They ask questions like, where the fuck is Prime 4? Where's Bayonetta 3? Where's Shin Megami Tensei 5? Like, where's Star Fox? Where's F-Zero? Like, no, you don't have any PlayStation fans asking for, a new Prince of Persia, right? You're not asking any of them for really asking for, like, a new Ape Escape, a new Jak and Daxter, a new Uncharted even. Nobody really cares about that. Like, the PlayStation audience will eat up anything that PlayStation sets in front of them and tells them to eat. Like, that's the PlayStation audience. They're basically slaves. But as a result of that, right? Because they're slaves, they don't. It doesn't even cross their mind. They don't even consider the fact that Sony might actually be putting out a bad product. In fact, I don't think I've ever heard a PlayStation fan ever in my life suggest a PlayStation product is a bad product. Like, they never talk about the games. They never talk about the bad games. They never talk about, like, things they're disappointed with or wish they could have done better or wish they would focus on next time. Like, no. Like, they think PlayStation is perfect because they buy into the hype machine and they go along with it because they need that sort of connection with people. They need to be told what they should like. They are basically mindless sheep. They are consumers, consumers, right? They just eat up everything that Sony sets in front of them. And as a result, you don't see a lot of people asking very reasonable questions about the PS5, right? Like, for example, how many of these games are going to be on platforms that I already own? Like, why would I want to buy a PS5 for Bug Snacks when I'm sure that it's eventually going to make the jump to Switch? Like, again, I haven't researched Bug Snacks, but I consider Bug Snacks to be the new Knack because that's... If that was a Nintendo IP, people would be shitting on it and making fun of it, but you have people like Angry Joe coming out and say, like, oh, it actually looks pretty fun and charming. Like, no, fuck you. You are completely out of touch. Like, anything that isn't Nintendo, like, these people will just pretend is the greatest thing ever until it comes out and they don't actually play it. You know what I mean? Like, it's phenomenal seeing how many games, right, over the years have been hyped up by E3, right? Watch Dogs, Final Fantasy VII R, The Last Guardian, things like that. How many of these companies seriously came out hyping up those products? You know, Destiny, all of the Halo games, right? Like, hyping up these mediocre products and then just kind of forgetting about them after they come out and then moving on to the next big thing. And that's kind of one of the things I've been thinking about these past couple of days. I've been spending a lot of time chilling. I've been spending a lot of time like hanging around my house, planning videos, planning content, working on the website, blogging. But I've also been playing a lot of games. I've also been reading a lot of books. I've been watching a lot of movies. I watched True Grit today. Really, really good one. Fucking love that movie. I was, watching shows like Invader Zim and stuff like that. Invader Zim is great. And I'm really, really enjoying myself. But, and this is a really, really big but, it's not like my life. And again, I really, really do have to come out and say this, like, to anyone watching this right now, like, video games are not your life. Like, you need to have things outside of video games. And, of course, I'm doing that now with the website and things like that. I'm very, very passionate about projects like Rabbit Hole, like Grimm, like Earth Alone, like Lightning Ike, like The Black Castle. I'm just throwing out titles there, but lots of projects that are in varying degrees of being finished. I'm very, very passionate about that, right? And I'm working constantly to sort of achieve my goal and become a very successful independent novelist, right? Someone who can just put books on the internet and have people buy them, right? Like, I am creating content. I sort of have my own sort of thing, you know what I mean? And I keep saying this about the PlayStation audience, but it really is true. I don't think these people have any identity outside of the products they consume, right? Like, I don't think they do anything other than play a PlayStation game for like 30 hours and then spend the rest of their time being excited about the next PlayStation game or the next Marvel movie or like whatever, like or protesting for Black Lives Matter. Like, these people have no critical life skills. Like, they have nothing except like the media they consume. And I think that's why they're so religiously defendant of Sony. Like, even I, who am very, very critical of like Nintendo at this point. Like, I have really moved away in the past couple of years from openly like shitting on everyone who talks down about Nintendo. Like, at this point, it's mostly just a matter of just like, okay, I have my own platform, I have my own audience. I'll just like address these issues as they come up and then just do my own thing, right? Like, I don't need to sit here for an hour every day going over like stupid shit that like Player Essence said that day or whatever. Like, I just do my own thing, right? I just play the games I like and then do whatever, right? I actually have not been playing a whole lot of video games, actually. What have I played last? Oh, yeah, I was playing some Dragon Quest II. I was playing some Ring Fit Adventure. Yeah, it's been Ring Fit Adventure a lot these past couple of days. I have been working on that. Very, very impressed with it. I actually recommended it on a blackcatbooks.org. When was this? Yeah, Ring Fit Adventure. Yeah, just the other day. Ring Fit Adventure. Check out that article. I gave a little bit of a look at it. Great game. Highly recommend it. But oof, I don't know, man. Like, I don't sit here like I haven't been sitting here, right? Ring Fit Adventure is a game I really, really liked. I was over the moon about it from the instant I began talking about it when it first came out, right? When it was first shown, I was like, oh, this is going to be really good. This is going to be really successful. People are going to like it. And it came out, I played it, and I liked it a lot, and I did talk about it to a certain extent, but eventually I sort of moved on to other things, right? And I'm sort of getting back into playing it again. As opposed to, like, the PlayStation fan, who was adamant that Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, that they are the best games ever made until the next game comes out. Like, it's mindless, it's repetitive, it's ridiculous. It's they refuse to acknowledge, I feel like, any real flaw with what these companies are doing at all. Like Final Fantasy VII-R, I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII lately. I actually uploaded another. Oh, this is the article. Yeah. I scheduled it for later, but now it's later. So yeah, this article went live, talking a little bit about Final Fantasy VII and SquareSoft's decline into irrelevancy. Final Fantasy VII-R, people were only defending that game because it was Final Fantasy VII. Like, they weren't being critical about it. They weren't acknowledging its flaws. They weren't acknowledging that, maybe this isn't the game that fans would want, that maybe newer players would want. Like, people just blindly ate it up for, I legit think, because they had nothing else to play. They had nothing else to talk about. Like, that was the only big game to come out earlier this year, and there hasn't been a whole lot since then, and it still has been completely forgotten, completely overshadowed by Animal Crossing. Glad to see, by the way, that Animal Crossing has surpassed Final Fantasy. Pokemon has surpassed Final Fantasy. Like, companies have been trying for years to ruin Nintendo, and we're seeing a lot of these newer IPs, the Splatoons, the Animal Crossings, the Pokemons. It's not just games that were established in the 80s, right? Like, Nintendo has been constantly introducing new IPs throughout the years, and games like ARMS do really, really well. Games like Ring Fit Adventure do really, really well. Games like Splatoon 2 do really, really well. And these people, man, they don't acknowledge how fun and creative these games are, because they're not cool. They're not made for they're not mature games for mature games. They're not the games they're supposed to be playing, according to PlayStation and its extremely dedicated, devoted viral marketers. The people who are desperately trying to pretend that The Last of Us Part 2 didn't bomb. Like, people aren't talking about the sales anymore. Why? Because they flatlined. Because nobody worried about how bad the game got out, and people stopped buying it. If anybody's buying it, they're buying it used, just to review how bad it is. And there are a very few dedicated fanboys out there trying to say it's bad, trying to say it's really, really good. Colin Moriarty, I think, is one. Broken Games HD is another. I think Girlfriend Reviews did. But I think the vast majority of people are very, very much against it. These people, the influencers, aren't really influencing people's opinions. Like, when the quality gets this bad, when it gets like The Last of Us Part 2 bad, like, there is going to be a backlash among general consumers, and that's kind of what we need. Like, we need these general consumers to realize that, wait a minute, there is no reason for these third-party developers to be putting all of their games on PlayStation and not Nintendo. Like, why don't I just buy a Switch and just have them release everything on that? And since Switch has so many desirable games, I think that's what's happening, is that, like, people are just picking up Switch for Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, and then just buying third-party games, the good third-party games, as they come out. Like, they don't really need for them to be day one purchases, right? Like, that's kind of the audience that Switch has cultivated. Like, I'll be buying Doom Eternal when it launches on Switch, when other people have played it, not because again, I'm a fan of the classic Doom games. Doom 2016 was okay. I'm kind of curious about how bad Eternal was, so I kind of want to. I didn't need to play that game day one, right? And as a result, I ended up being able to buy the game on my platform of choice, of buying it on the superior Nintendo hardware. And I do think that's the thing that people are starting to realize, really starting to grasp, women and younger people especially, I think. Nintendo Switch is better than PlayStation gaming. Like, there's no getting around this. There's no arguing. Like, there are just so many different games in all genres: strategy, RPG, shooters, action, like literally everything, right? Like puzzles. Like, Switch has better games than what PlayStation can offer. Like, the days where people used to be bamboozled by Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and having like a wide open city environment that you could run people over with cars, like that's not a thing anymore. Like, that's not new, that's not fresh, that's not exciting. Like, people are wanting something a little bit different, like something a little bit more compact. And I found myself really surprised for the first time. Over the past couple of days, I've really started to get into Tetris. Yeah, I've been exposed to Tetris since I was a little kid, and was never interested in it. Never was interested in it. Never ever picked up a copy of Tetris. I mean, I respected it, right? Like I knew that it had an audience, right? But it was always one of those things where like, it's just not for me, right? It's just not my thing. Like I understand why people love it, but I mean, I didn't shit on those people, obviously. Like Tetris is a great game, right? But was just doing my thing. But you know, Tetris 99 is on Nintendo Switch Online, and because it's free, because it's there, because it's like packed in with the subscription, I was able to just over time start getting into it. And this over the past couple of days, I took a picture of this and posted it on Twitter. I managed to crack the top 25 of a Tetris 99 match, and I'm so excited. I'm definitely going for number one. Really exciting to do. Really exciting to do that. I was really proud of myself because. Especially because, like, a couple of days before that, I tweeted about how terrible I am at the game, but I am getting better. I am getting better at Tetris, and I am enjoying Tetris, and this is a free game. Like, this is a game you just download with Nintendo Switch Online that you just sort of get, and you end up falling for it, right? You end up falling in love with it, not falling for it. That's not that completely different context. You end up getting into this smaller, cheaper, more fulfilling game, and I think that's kind of the issue PlayStation is having right now, is that they have to like spend literally millions of dollars animating all these textures, doing all this shit, like getting all these actors, putting all this Hollywood aspects into like to try and sell you like absolute horseshit, right? To try and sell you absolute crap. And Nintendo, it's phenomenal. Like they're doing more with less, or I don't want to say less. They're selling so much more with a game that cost so much less to make, and that's always been true. But I think with Switch, it's really hit overdrive, because we really are reaching the point where random games, right? Luigi's Mansion 3, Splatoon 2, Animal Crossing: New Horizons, they're all like hitting incredible numbers. Like they're all insanely popular. Splatoon 2 is hit 10 million units sold. I believe that's more than The Last of Us Part 2 by itself, right? So I think it's safe to say that the Splatoon is going to be a far more successful IP than The Last of Us at this point, right? Because it's always going to have new sequels, it's always going to have new ideas, it's always going to stay fresh, so to speak. Animal Crossing, over the past 20 years, has become one of Nintendo's biggest properties. I believe it's like the third or fourth biggest. I think the only reason it's not bigger is because the releases have to be so padded out. It's doing about as well as Pokemon does, and I mean, it outsold Pokemon, right? It did outsell Pokemon Sword and Shield, but like Pokemon is a annual franchise, so like the kind of logistics are different. I expect like Animal Crossing, in the long run, is going to sell like 40 million units, right? It's going to be like one of the best selling titles of the generation, right? What does PlayStation have that can compete with Animal Crossing, with Mario, with Zelda, with Pokemon, with Fire Emblem? Like, really nothing. Like, we're reaching the point now where, like, even Persona is going to get, like, dethroned by Fire Emblem eventually, purely because Fire Emblem games can be released a lot quicker. We're going to get, like, 5 or 6 Fire Emblem games before we get Persona 6. Like, how do you think that's going to affect the fan base? Like, you guys are going to be in your 30s by that point. Like, are you really going to get fired up about like a game about fucking high schoolers while you're in your 30s? Like, are you fucking serious? Like, it's not. It feels like Persona's like one of those things that's going to be like a fart in the wind. It's just going to vanish eventually. Like, the people are going to grow out of it, right? They're gonna lose interest. It's all about like the sexual fantasies. There are better RPGs out there, right? Like, eventually people are going to either move on to other franchises, which are almost always on Nintendo, or they're just going to stop playing video games entirely, and that's just going to not result in your bottom line at all. Like, shit, like, what do you have to do if you want to play, like, Persona's side series, right? Shin Megami Tensei, you have to go to Nintendo. Like, what do you want to do if you want to play Fire Emblem? You have to go on Nintendo. If you want to, like, the definitive way to play Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, like, it's always on Nintendo. Like, other than like the exclusivity for PlayStation that it shouldn't have, like, Persona has nothing over the rest of these RPG franchises. Like, it's going to lose its popularity eventually. They're going to try to do the same things over and over and over again, and eventually it's going to really not work out very well, so to speak, for its audience. I mean, we're talking about like a group of weebs who are like just gonna die alone. Like we're talking about incel otaku. Like they're gonna like. Eventually, these people are gonna find something that's more preferable to them. Like I imagine it'll be something more sexualized. Like when that happens, like these people will leave, and that'll be that. Oof. Oof. Let's see here. So I don't think PlayStation has much time on the clock. Like I said, all the third parties are dead. Square Enix is dead. Konami is dead. Capcom is dead. Or rather, more accurately, I think all of their major IPs have no reason to not be on Switch. Like, people are talking about Monster Hunter coming back to Switch. Capcom would be delusional, would be completely stupid to abandon the Switch market, especially in like Japan. Like, do they really think that World is going to carry them forever? Like, do they really think that like they're going to be able to just put out like a World 2? Like, I think that must have been like a Final Fantasy VII situation in which like Sony just paid them for the game, paid them for it to be the way it is, and then like sort of paid for it to be marketed and stuff like that. Like I've heard rumors like that. I would not be surprised at all. They're just weird behavior about it. Like World really should have been, Monster Hunter really should have been on Switch by this point. Like we really should have had a new Monster Hunter. Again, like with Persona, like with all this other stuff, Yakuza. Like where are these games? Like they're just mysteriously not there. Again, because Sony is actively preventing them from being ported. But how much longer can they do that? Really? Like how much longer until people just stop buying these new PlayStations? Like I don't think we're gonna see a PlayStation 6. Like I don't. Like they really are trying to move towards this system, this sort of like digital only sort of thing where you can just download the games through some kind of application or whatever, what have you, and just play them online. Like they want to get rid of physical games. They want to get rid of hardware. They are going to do that. They are trying desperately to make it work. The only reason it didn't happen in this generation, right, with PlayStation Now is that, like, well, PlayStation Now is a piece of shit and it didn't take off. Not that people talk about that, by the way, but it is true. It's just... let me see here. So yeah, about Nintendo Directs, yes, I wanted to talk about Nintendo Directs specifically because Game Explain is up to their old tricks again. I really wanted to talk about this because this is... you don't even have to... It's ridiculous. You don't even have to click on their videos to point out ridiculous bullshit anymore. Top 10 hopes for Super Mario 3D All-Stars besides being real. So instead of talking about like actual announcements, actual indie games, actual Switch coverage, like these fuckers, these chuckle fucks are coming out and talking shit about top 10 hopes for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Like, are they for real? Like, are they for real? How many times have I come out and just spoken out about them and their rumors? Let me see. What have they covered recently? Let's see. Discussion, reviews. Do they have a rumor list? Let's see. Paper Mario the Origami King, Animal Crossing, Game of the Decade. I don't think they do have a... Alright, I don't think so. But yeah, you always see shit like this all the time for them. Like, covering these baseless fucking rumors. Not even baseless. From these rumors from a bunch of people who we know, who we have known to be complete frauds for the longest time, right? Like, I am just appalled at the lengths that Game Explain goes to in order to try and justify Emily Rogers and her shit. Like, these rumors, like covering the Star Fox Grand Prix thing. Did they cover Star Fox Grand Prix? Let's see. Game Explain. These people just. Yep, rumor discussion. Yep. Yeah, they talked about it a couple of times. Hang on. I kind of want to watch all this because this is kind of interesting. It's like a time capsule. Oops, hang on. Okay, we're sticking with the Star Fox.
No. And one more time, no.
What? Why isn't it pausing? Oh, there we go. Okay. Wait, do we... Gotta love how they just declare everything to be a rumor. Don't be upset with us if this isn't true, guys.
Hey everyone, Derek here with a quick news update on what Retro Studios might have been working on all this time. A Star Fox racing game. According to a Reddit user by the name of Das Vergebin and backed up by some...
What I believe happened is that they just took the logo from Star Fox Guard and just replaced like it with Grand Prix. What the fuck? Hang on. I hate them. Okay. So what actually happened is that someone took the logo from Star Fox Guard, which is a little bit different than Zero's, right? They took the logo from Star Fox Guard and just replaced the Guard with Grand Prix. So that's kind of why the font kind of looks very official looking, and why they were able to trick so many of these fucking plebs who have know nothing about Star Fox into believing these weird rumors.
Someone on 4chan who simply wrote all true. It looks like Retro Studios is working on a spin-off of Star Fox that's actually a racing game.
Nope.
They described it as
Bullshit.
something like Diddy Kong Racing
Fake.
mixed with F-Zero, but more like F-Zero in actual gameplay. It will have an adventure mode of some kind, again, think Diddy Kong Racing, and there will be some boss fights in a hub world like that too. It's called Star Fox Grand Prix, and as many have noted, the whole concept sounds very similar to the Curse of Pigma, which is one of the endings from Star Fox Command, where after Starwolf takes everything from Fox, him and Falco decide to retire as pilots and engineer their R-Wings into racing machines. So if this rumor is real, maybe Retro was inspired by that ending and decided to make a racing game based off that concept. Either way, it's a surprising turn for Star Fox and does sound at least a little different from what F-Zero does, although it still does kind of sting that F-Zero is not getting a racing game yet.
Oh, no, not a poor F-Zero.
Futuristic. Who knows, maybe it's going to be more flight-based. After all, they did pass around the name of Diddy Kong Racing quite a few times, so maybe players can choose whether they're in R-Wings or Landmasters, or maybe even new boat.
Was this really 2 years ago?
So we'll have to wait and see, one, if this is true, and two, how exactly this concept works. But what about you guys? Do you think this rumor is real? Let us know in the comments, and of course,
how do they only get 40,000 views for this shit? Why do they so religiously cover these baseless rumors? 40,000 views for this, like, unbelievable. Why don't they make a Star Fox? Okay, let's see. Fake and gay. All right, I guess we could. Okay. All right, leaving my mark on this comment section. Let's see what the new comments are like. Star Fox Assault is okay. Nobody's been watching this. Yeah. All talk of like the Star Fox Zero rumors, the Star Fox Grand Prix rumors, they've been kind of memory hold. Like I've been mentioning off and off the stream. So many of these people, they'll make up some kind of excuse, some kind of justification, and then try to move on. That's what they're trying to do with Star Fox Grand Prix now, especially because it's become such a meme among our circles, right? The people debunking this shit. Who just keep addressing it. They're trying to come up with some excuse, like, oh, maybe it was canceled, maybe it was a false flag. They don't want to admit they were wrong. They were had.
All right, I just want to put it out there. I predicted it. Falco is officially playable in Starlink Battle for Atlas. Not only Falco, but also Peppy and Slippy as well. I'm insanely happy about this. I love the whole Star Fox crew. So for them all to come over is a really nice treat for us fans. But I just wanted to put that out there onto the big topic of the video, that I believe this is officially the Star Fox Grand Prix that we've had running for us for so long. If you remember way back before last year's E3, we were getting these rumors that Retro Studios has been working on this Star Fox Grand Prix game. Well, I think that has all been a hoax, because in this trailer we just got yesterday for the Starlink Battle for Atlas update, it shows a Grand Prix style racing mode that I think is where we got these rumors from. Now, industry insiders can get their information from different sources, which can honestly be a long trail of breadcrumbs that leads to nowhere, so who knows where this rumor even came from. But no doubt the rumor was accurate from some point of view.
I hated Starlink so much.
I don't know if we're getting any...
No, 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 no,
Oh,
no,
no.
no, no.
Oh,
One more
no.
time. No.
Oh no, he gets salty. I wonder what this guy has to say about it. I'm legit curious.
I'd hoped this wasn't true. I checked my calendar to confirm that it was indeed May and not April 1st. I checked the link that was given to me by Justin on our Discord, which you all should join and be a part of. Thank you, Justin, for being the first one to tip me off to this news, because oh boy, do I have something to say. Now, my Metroid video is still coming, but given the time I wanted to dedicate to that particular video and due to how current and relevant this news is, here we are today. Now, what am I talking about, and why don't I just get on with it? You know what, you're right. You know the game that you've all been asking for? The Star Fox game that we've all been asking for a long, long time. I've made videos about where I wanted to see a Star Fox racing game. Ladies and gentlemen, multiple sources are pointing toward Retro Studios making a spin-off Star Fox racing game with Star Fox Grand Prix. No, 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 no.
Oh man, he hates the idea.
One more time.
No.
Look, first, I just want to address the fact that at this point, frankly, and I don't care what anybody has to say about it, Mario Kart is Nintendo Kart, or Nintendo...
So, we already got a... Okay, here's the thing about Grand Prix. I personally thought the idea behind it sounded awesome, and since we recently got a new Star Fox game with Zero, anyway, I thought like a spin-off would have been a great idea. I would have supported the game wholeheartedly had it been real, right? But it wasn't. Like, as we now know...
Nintendo Racing, if you will. They just call it Mario Kart because of brand familiarity. If Mario Kart was all of a sudden slapped with Nintendo Kart all of a sudden on the box after decades of it being Mario Kart, it would confuse everyone. But look what Mario Kart already gave us. We have Link and the Inklings in that game. Mario Kart is slowly but surely inching toward being the second place when Nintendo characters get all together, aside from the obvious greatness that is Smash Brothers. So that's bullet point one. Star Fox could easily just go onto Mario Kart and have that Mario Kart representation, and then it could be...
What is he talking about? Like, Grand Prix was supposed to be something completely different than Mario Kart. Like, you need a bunch of racing games. Like, you can have different racing games. Like, it's not, oh, you have Mario Kart and you just need that. Like, no.
A done deal. We'll need a separate racing game from an IP that's never been a racer ever. Of course, you could
just like Mario,
fit in the nature and vibe of Mario Kart, but again, Link. Secondly, this is what I've been talking about for the absolute longest. If you recall, I made a few of the Star Fox videos because of how much I like this series. And one of those videos, I can't remember which one exactly, I stated the fact that Star Fox has no single sole developer. This series has seen Namco, Rare Games, Platinum Games, Q Games, and now Retro Studios wants to make a spin-off racer. This is extremely irritating. Look, I'll be the first one to say it. We need a great Star Fox game in general, period, before we focus on spin-offs.
Zero?
Great game that the consensus agrees upon, that is a well-made Star Fox title that can bring in new fans and appease old ones. Maybe that's too much to ask. Is this how Star Fox games have fallen? Is this how far this series has fallen? What's next? Star Fox fighting? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm confused. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I can't do it. And you know what'll piss me off severely? if the general fandom really rallies behind this game
Yep.
after Adventures and Assault was dragged to the mud, because these are the same people who wanted Star Fox to stay on its roots as an on-rail shooter and dogfighter.
I would say like
Star
it's
Fox has never been about race.
I would say it's all been about like always about the flying aspect or being in a vehicle. Like again, Assault fundamentally is probably fine. Adventures was fundamentally like of course Assault has like all of its problems. It sucks, it's Assault, but I mean Assault could have been good. Assault was like on the right track, but then like Zero really took the idea and really Zero was just more 64. I mean obviously they need to do different things with the IP, obviously. But
Racing in any form or realm. You know, I guess after saving the Lilat system, Star Fox and his crew decided, you know what? This whole saving the galaxy thing is cool. It's all cool and all, but man, I'm sure we all know what our natural calling is. Racing. You know, what if this game does extremely well, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Nintendo's like, you know what? We're making Star Fox a racing IP.
Nope.
Extreme, I know.
That's completely stupid.
Star Fox Adventures and Assault will look pretty good at that point, wouldn't it? It'll look pretty good. You know, people will be like, we miss those games, and we wish we could. No, you know what? This is slowly becoming a series I'm liking less and less. And I know, coming from me, it's a shock to hear, but at this point, it's just like, throw a dart at the wall, and wherever the dart lands, that's what our next Star Fox game will be about. There is no consistency, no general guideline. It's either do what was done in 1997 again, and if that doesn't take off, we'll just throw, we got these darts. I'm just saying. It's not that I think Nintendo couldn't have another racing game that could coexist alongside Mario Kart. Look, I'd still be excited to see F-Zero set up for the Switch, but I could see this being an additive thing, like how we got Star Fox Guard alongside Star Fox Zero. I'd be cool with that, having a mainline Star Fox game with an awesome story, different mechanics, again, we all could agree it's a good game, and have this be, like the second added game, like we had Star Fox Guard. But at the
so like he's just pretending that Zero doesn't exist. What a complete dipshit. Like this video was made like about 2 years after Zero had come out, right? Like we got our good new mainline Star Fox game. Like there's what the fuck?
2 years of not only waiting for a Star Fox announcement on the Switch, not even knowing if it was going to get one, having it be up in the air thing, and wondering what it might look like. To hear it be about this, I just hope there's another game to follow in this series for the Switch in its life cycle, because this would be such a missed opportunity. I want an actual full-fledged Star Fox game. This is very, very unwelcome news. Very unwelcome. This, of course, speaks nothing in terms of quality of this game. This could very well end up being a good racing game, objectively speaking. Put it alongside my family.
This is Arlo like tired bitching about like IPs changing. Like this is no different than like what Arlo says about like Hey Pikmin or Pikmin, Hey Pikmin or the newer Paper Mario games. It's just all right. Back to our friends at Game Explain. So they spent half an hour discussing this rumor that was completely fake. All right.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another Game Explained discussion. I'm your host, Derek Bittner, and I'm joined today by Andre Segers, Ash Paulson,
Fuck
and
you,
John
Andre.
Cartwright to talk
piece of
about
shit.
the surprising rumor of a Star Fox Grand Prix. Basically, a racing game featuring Star Fox characters that's a combination of F-Zero and Diddy Kong Racing, which is kind of insane, but also makes a weird amount of sense. So it's like, okay, let's get together and see whether we think, one, this rumor is real, two, whether this is actually possible, and three, would it be any fun? By the way, the developer, Retro Studios, which is just another weird layer on top of all this. And yeah, Andre, what were your thoughts when you heard this rumor?
Yeah, I guess the first question is this real, right? Because this is kind of in the Mario and Rabbids caliber,
Nope.
tier of rumors, I would say. And had this come out before that game came out, before we knew those rumors were real, I would land on the side of this being fake. But in the universe where Mario plus Rabbids exists, I can see this being an actual game.
Yeah.
Happen.
Gotta love how they always bring up Mario Rabbids, like literally nothing else, like literally like not Beyond Good and Evil 2 being Switch exclusive, literally not a. Do I have Nintendo NX? Yeah, here we go. I actually do have a really handy dandy flow chart here. Hang on, is it showing up on screen? Hang on, I probably shouldn't. Let me see. Yeah, literally everything else they had. Hang on. How do I zoom in? Okay, there we go. Zelda Breath of the Wild to miss Nintendo Switch launch. Yep, things like that. Mario and Skyrim Switch at launch. Splatoon. Yeah, Splatoon was supposed to be ported. At least 16 new tracks for Mario Kart 8 port. Yep. Mother 3 Virtual Console Switch coming 2017. Yeah, Emily is not referring to Splatoon, which is a port with new stuff in it. Well, let's just say that there are some things on there like Splatoon 2 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that are completely false. The 4chan link is completely false. Disregard and ignore. So like these people have been wrong about a whole bunch of shit. The Mario Rabbids thing, I think, sort of came about because of the Ubisoft situation, because of how leak heavy they are. It had nothing to do with Nintendo. Like nobody has ever actually been able to reveal a true Nintendo announcement, as we've been seeing with all these people insisting there's going to be a Nintendo Direct like every weekend. Like it's no.
And plus, I do want to say that we have been hearing similar things ourselves over the past few weeks. So
yeah,
everything
from these
is kinda
unreliable
matching up.
people.
So I'm on Team Real for this one. For as wild as it
Yeah,
is.
of course.
And I won't get too into it yet because I have a lot to say. I kind of love this idea.
I really want to see what Andre
Yeah,
has to say
this
about
is
this.
just crazy enough to be legit. I think I'm on
Nope.
Team Real for this too. I'm kind of shaky on that because it really
Nope.
is so far out there. But then again, I mean, so originally was the idea of Retro going from working on Metroid Prime to, hey, another Donkey Kong Country game. So, you know, this isn't, I mean, as crazy as the idea itself is, it's not so crazy to think that Retro would have been jumping from a 2D platformer onto something completely off the wall different again. So the idea itself is crazy, but it's like you said, Andre. It could just be crazy enough to work, and I kind of think there could be some truth to this one. So yeah, I think I'm on Team. Real for
Starbucks
this.
Zero looks so
Yeah,
good.
I think
I
I'm
love
to
it so
Team
much.
Real as well. And you know, you've learned over the years to just trust in Retro. Because when Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was announced, everyone was like, "Oh, flipping Donkey Kong."
Oh yeah. By the way, fuck those people, man. I was salty back then, and I'm salty now. Like that is the reason. That sort of behavior is why I'm so adamantly against these people. Like they spend entire videos, right, hyping up a project that doesn't even exist. But then they'll turn around and shit on things like Tropical Freeze, like The Wonderful 101, like ARMS, like Ever Oasis, like all these Codename Steam, like all of these great Nintendo games are being ignored in favor of hyping up absolute bullshit. Like, unbelievable. I hate it. I hate that.
And, you know, that was one of the best platformers of all time. They made Metroid Prime one of the best transitions to 3D of all time. So, just to hear the prospect of Star Fox Grand Prix, I'm not going to be all negative about it. I'm actually quite excited to learn more. And the fact that it's kind of based on Diddy Kong Racing is amazing, because that's like one of my favorite kart races ever. So if this is real, I'll be very happy.
So they're all
And
Team Real.
I kind of want to believe it's real at this point.
I'm so not sure what I think about this one, because for the longest, and Eurogamer specifically.
So they're
said
all
that
like they're all basically Team Real. Like, oh, it's so exciting. Let's see. Unbelievable. All right. Yeah, these rumors, man, they really get out of hand, and they really are starting to ramp up again. I am starting to see signs that Emily Rogers is about to rear her ugly head again and start talking shit about about Nintendo again. So again, we'll have to see like when that happens, when and how that happens, and to what extent. But like right now, it feels like a lot of the leakers. I mean, who are the Nintendo leakers? Hang on, reliable Nintendo leakers. I'm sure. Best, most reliable leakers. Okay, that's from... Who are the most reliable 2020 leakers? Let's see. Gaming leakers. Self-proclaimed insiders such as Drayson Schreier, Jeff Grubb, and Twitter user Iron Man... Wait, what the fuck? Fuck you! No, I am not using... Okay. This probably isn't it. Let's see... Okay, August 2020, Nintendo Direct. Leakers tease the biggest Direct ever. Oh wait, we gotta read this. Nintendo leakers tease the biggest Direct in month. Nintendo's Indie World Showcase came and went on August 18th without as much as a peep about when the company's next big Direct presentation will be held. It's now been almost a year since the company has hosted a General Direct, the major type of digital presentation the company used before the time of social distancing to announce major new releases and tease upcoming titles for its major franchises. Recent new leaks, however, indicate the longest Nintendo Direct drought in history could soon come to an end. A duo of gaming industry insiders has claimed that Nintendo could be preparing a General Direct sometime after August 27th. VentureBeat, wow, how delightfully vague. VentureBeat reporter Jeff Grubb and trusted Reset era leaker Nathan Drake retired from Uncharted to drop Nintendo hits. Wow, he went for a real upgrade. Nate Drake's prediction gained traction on Reddit August 15 after they cryptically teased that Nintendo was getting ready to announce something on the 28th, along with fellow Nintendo leaker Tsubasa. They got the date wrong, and it wasn't the General Direct they were teasing. Before this, Nate Drake accurately predicted the release date of Paper Mario the Origami King weeks before Nintendo launched the game. Weren't they trying to say some shit about Paper Mario, like, returning to form or some shit like that after doing the same thing with Color Splash? Like, again, it's impossible to keep track with what these people say because they always backtrack when they're wrong. But, okay. Damn, Barca just lost 2-8. That's a disaster. Let's see, wait. Redditors have taken the leakers Reset Era exchange to mean that there will be some kind of Nintendo announcement late in August. But some were skeptical about the day, August 28th. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Neither specified exactly what kind of Direct it would be. Gee, how surprising. It's almost like they don't know shit. Grubb previously recorded that Nintendo isn't planning a Direct at all for now, back in May. So this rumored August-September presentation might be another Direct Mini or game-specific update. Yeah. Yeah, these leakers, man. I don't recognize a lot of these names because they're all so irrelevant. They basically kind of exist on NeoGAF. They basically kind of just congregate on NeoGAF and try to get their things to kick off. I can't think of anything that they've done in the past couple of years. I think Star Fox Grand Prix was the last, but it does feel like they're starting to worm their way back into relevancy. They are trying to make excuses for their behavior. They are trying to tease Nintendo Directs. Yeah, look at what they try to do. Star Fox Grand Prix was a fake leak created by Nintendo to uncover leakers. Like, this is the kind of thing these people will come up with. Did someone seriously try to tell people Star Fox Grand Prix was some kind of master plan by Nintendo to try and catch leakers? Give me a break. Yep. Yeah, most people aren't buying into it. Let's see. Yeah, the Mario Collection thing is the. It seems to be the new Mario Grand Prix because that's actually what brought this on. Is that like a Game Explain released a Super Mario 3D just leaked them already. You can pick one of these to appear on Nintendo Switch. The other 3 never will. Which do you choose? So yeah, people are just getting fired up about the Mario 3D All-Star League collection. It's just, it's all a big mess. I hate it. It's completely ridiculous. All right, all right. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about today. I'm kind of worn out, honestly.